They kill them. They're friggin' savages. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Dark Feminine Consciousness. I am Tifara. Women have wombs, and because of that, we are portals. What are portals? Portals are gateways that connect two different worlds. So we are walking portals. So we get access to another world through our wombs. Women are deeply connected to the celestials, deeply connected to where we come from, deeply connected to God. We have access to information that can tell us about who we are, why we're here, what we're doing here, what we're supposed to be doing here. But aside from that, women are also very connected to nature in a way that men aren't. A very different way from how men are. We have similar cycles to Earth and the celestial bodies that give us really cool psychic abilities. You know, we have powers that men just don't have. In some ancient cultures, they worshipped women as gods, while in some degenerate cultures, men got jealous of women. It's one of the reasons why white women are so afraid of white men, because historically they never treated their women very well, and the spiritual women in their culture, they kill them. They're friggin' savages. It's important for women to understand and always have an awareness of their menstrual cycles, an awareness of what's happening with the moon, the changes in the moon, what phase of the moon she's in, what changes are happening within nature, whether good or bad, and what is abnormal as well, right? And even changes that are happening in the celestials, right? Because the celestial bodies, and I mean like the other planets, affect us as well, particularly Mars. You know, Mars and the moon can tell us a lot about our cycles, you know, which is interesting because they always say that men are from Mars, women are from Venus, you know, like these really crappy Western ideas that just don't make sense, you know, because women are connected to Mars. Knowing what's happening in the celestial bodies help us to understand ourselves, understand our health, and also what is happening out there around us. We can use the moon, the celestial bodies, and our birth charts to know exactly when our cycles are due, down to the hour that our cycle will start. As long as we're healthy. If we're healthy women, we can predict it up to that. You know, women who have serious womb issues will probably not be able to predict their cycles very well. Some have really long cycles, some have really short cycles. But a healthy woman will have a normal cycle. You can go online and learn your birth chart. It's very easy. So it will tell you more than just what your sun sign is, right? But you need to know. I will leave a link to the website that I always use. But you need to know your place of birth, your date of birth, obviously, and the hour, the time that you were born. And you can get like very detailed information about when you were born, what was happening celestially when you were born, and it tells you a lot about yourself. When I got the information about my birth chart and I read all of what it said, I was just like, this is crazy, because this is me to a T. To a T. And a lot of times when I don't understand certain things about myself, I'll go to my birth chart to try and understand a little bit more, give me a little bit more insight. It's not going to give you all the details, nothing really. You know yourself more than anything else. So really, when you read your birth chart, it's just going to be like a reminder. It's like a jog of your memory, you know. A lot of these things are in our DNA. We know them deep within us, but we have forgotten. We have forgotten who we are and how to access certain information, how to really elevate ourselves. Our ancestors knew how to do this. Our ancestors knew how to access certain things. They knew how to live. And that's why we have to go back to understanding what they did and seeing how we can apply it to our modern lives to make our modern lives more balanced. You can also use the moon to know exactly the time that it is good for you to conceive, your most fertile time. And you can also use the moon to know when it is not a good time to conceive, right? You're least likely to conceive. There are times in the year when it's best for you to conceive, and there are times in the year when it's not good for you to conceive. And when you study ancient women, you realize that these things were very important to them. They cared a lot about their fertility, so they were always in tune with their menstrual cycles and what's happening celestially and the connections, right? Particularly because we are intelligently designed to make people, right? So clearly, you know, we forget how intelligent our ancestors were. But if you really pay attention to the history, if you pay attention to the culture and ancient civilizations, you would know that they were very intelligent about the way that they did things, and not just, you know, they were scientific in their approach to everything. So the women saw it as important to pay attention to their menstrual cycle. What they did during their menstrual cycle, what they did leading up to their menstrual cycle was very important to them, because it not only informed them about their health, but it also informed them about their fertility. So now there's some women who bleed during, all of us bleed through different phases of the moon, right? So sometimes our cycles come with the new moon, sometimes our cycles come with the half moon, sometimes our cycles come with the full moon. Women who bleed with the new moon are said to be on the white moon cycle. And a woman who bleeds on this cycle with the new moon is very fertile. So she is in a phase where she can get pregnant very easily. She can conceive very easily because she ovulates with the full moon, right? If you get your cycle in the new moon, and I'm talking again about a healthy woman with a healthy cycle. You get your cycle in the new moon, you are going to ovulate during the full moon cycle. It's the best time because our bodies have more vitality during the full moon. We're said to be more healthy during this time, right? Because we understand the energy of the full moon. It is very energizing. Everything is like full power. Everything gets an extra push, an extra pull when the full moon is around. So naturally it's going to affect your ability to conceive. Anything that you want to do, the full moon is going to energize it. It is not just about conceiving children. You can conceive other things during this time as well. So it's a good time to focus on something that you want to manifest, something that you want to birth, right? Put your energy into creating something, right? The creative energy is high during this time for a woman. It's not just about birthing children, but birthing everything else that you want to create. As women, we're birthers. We've been some of the most unspoken creators in earth. They don't talk about it, about the amount of things that women have created historically, but there are many. And so it's a good time a good phase of a woman's life to really work on birthing something. Then there are women who bleed with the full moon, and they're said to be on the red moon cycle. And so during this phase, obviously, it is not a good time for a woman to conceive, right? However, it is a good time for a woman to take up spiritual practice, because she's said to be in a very sacred space when she is ovulating during the new moon. It's a time of rest. It's a time to reflect. It's a time to really take up your meditations, take up your mantras, set intentions. She should be pursuing a spiritual path, trying to work on her self-growth, working on her spiritual growth during this time. So like right now, I'm bleeding with the full moon. Actually, I'm ovulating right now. And naturally, I have and I find myself doing this all the time, where there are things happening celestially, and I just find myself naturally in tune with what's happening, with the energy of what's happening. So I don't really have to go and make sure that I'm doing these things. And I think it happens because I'm generally trying to be in tune with nature. I'm trying to be in line with what is happening already. I keep up with my spiritual practice as much as I can. I try to taking the right information. I try to eat right. All of these things matter in how balanced you are physically, emotionally, spiritually. So you will find a lot of synchronicities because you were working on your alignments. You're working on your spiritual growth. So everything just kind of work how it's supposed to work. So I found myself already improving my meditations and making sure that I'm doing the right things, especially now, womb meditations, very important for me right now to be working on my womb meditations. I do womb meditations sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evenings. I have my other meditation that I do every morning, but my womb meditations are a bit different. So, and that's something that we'll be talking about at the retreat, including I'm gonna, if we have time, show the women how to chart their menstrual cycles so they know when they're in a good fertile phase and when they're not in their fertile phase. So, and they can chart down to the hour that they're menstrual. I've actually done this. So a woman who is in this time now is in a very, very sacred space. So it's a good time to work on your spiritual practice. If you don't have one, create one. Work on creating a spiritual practice. It is important for your well-being as a woman that you have a practice. The sun also affects our cycles, right? Because obviously the sun affects the moon. Sun affects the moon and the changes in the moon. And yes, the moon has cycles as well. Like we're about to come up on now the summer solstice. And they say that the summer solstice and the winter solstice, as well as the equinoxes, they say that those affect our cycles as well. So a woman will see a shift in her cycle, but you may not notice that the shift is happening because there is a shift happening in the seasons. So we are approaching summer solstice this June, and the summer solstice will be the longest day, right? So we'll have more of the sun on that day, and then after that we'll have long days during the summer. By the time it becomes autumn equinox, it will start to change, right? And then when it gets to the winter now, we'll have the shortest day at winter solstice. Most of the days after winter solstice will be short days. And then spring equinox happens, and then the sun starts to rise. That's why, they say Easter time. This is why the Christians speak about Christ rising during this time, because the sun starts to rise during the springtime, the spring equinox. So leading up to the summer solstice, the sun gets longer and longer. We get more and more of the sun, right? We get longer and longer days. So those things affect our cycle as well. Personally, I think, yes, you can look at the moon phases and align your cycle with the moon phases, in that we wax and wane like the moon through our menstrual cycle. So we go through 4 phases of our cycle. And you can track it using the new moon, but I think that's more confusing than to track it with the seasons. I think it's better to track it with the seasons. So you have a winter season during your cycle, you have a spring season during your cycle, you have a summer season during your cycle, and you have an autumn season during your cycle, right? And it's important to know these different phases. It's important to know what you should be doing during this phase, how you should be eating during this phase, how you should communicate during this phase. Each of these phases are important, and they're important to your general wellness, right? And it also affects the way that you relate to others. This is ancient knowledge that ancient women knew and understood and lived by, and it's one of the reasons why they were more healthy than we are today. And how we know that they were more healthy is that they were more fertile. They had more children. They made use of their fertility. And a woman who makes use of her fertility is more healthy. That's just a fact, because we're built to make people. I'm going to go more deeply into the menstrual cycles at the retreat. I can do a video on it, but it is very difficult for me to go through certain things in depth on YouTube. I don't have the time, unless I was gonna do like a 3 hour lecture. I don't have the time to do that, and I don't have the energy either to sit down in front of a camera for 2 hours, to be honest. So I prefer to be in person, or maybe eventually I'll write a book too. But I'll share what I can, but I don't think I'll be able to go into details about how this thing works and how we should be living, give you details about the food that you should be eating, how you should relate to your partner, how you should relate to other women, how you should deal with work, how you should deal with the other responsibilities. Like, there's so many things that women have to consider in their wellness as it relates to their menstrual cycles. And it's really important that women make their cycles the center of their world, because it is important to your health. I know it sounds very debilitating, because that's what society has trained us to see our cycle as some kind of handicap that hurts us, and we're missing out on so much. We're not. We're here for a particular purpose, and there is power in that purpose. Women need radical self-acceptance. That's what we need. When we come to a place of self-acceptance, we will stop feeling like our cycles are some kind of burden. We will stop feeling the need to compete with men and be like men. We will love and appreciate and feel empowered by our womanness. We are highly connected, highly spiritual beings in a way that nothing else on earth is. And when we embrace that, we really embrace our power. So I'm hoping that for all of my sisters, I'm hoping that you can wake up and open up to that truth and realize how much of a benefit it is to you and everybody else around you. I still have some spaces for the retreat, so if you are interested in signing up, there's a link here and there's also a link in the description box. I will try and leave it in the comment section as well. All of the information that you need as it relates to this retreat is at this link, and you can book the retreat as well if you want to have a conversation with me. Before, I had a conversation with all of the women who booked, and it was beautiful, you know, because I really got to know them before we meet up and know a little bit about them and know a little bit about what their desires are and what they hope to achieve from coming to this retreat, what they're needing, you know, how I can assist them through these couple of days. I wish it was a longer retreat, but we're gonna make the most of these 2 days. Believe me, I am excited and looking forward to it, and so are they. So I know we're gonna have a good time. So I wish that you can join us. If you can't, don't worry, I'm planning another one and I'm gonna announce it hopefully just after this retreat. Then I'll have the time to really, you know, focus my energy on the next one. So you guys can look out for that. Listen, we are almost at 17,000 subscribers. I didn't make it to the 20k. It's June, but June not finished yet, you know, but it's June now. But don't worry, June not finished yet, so we still can make it, right? So please give the video a like. Please, if you haven't liked yet, stop right now and just click the like button. It doesn't cost you a thing. It is free. Just give it a like right now and help this video get out there and help me get some more subscribers, right? And big up to all of the new subscribers. I appreciate you. I see you. Thank you for being here, and I hope that the information that you find here has been useful to you. And yeah, continue to grow with me. I'm very excited about this channel and, you know, where it is taking me personally and where it is taking us as a collective. Take care of yourself and we will link up in the next video. All right, guys, later.